with your host Sana, where we explore the intersections of purpose, passion, and personal growth. Now, today's guest is someone who embodies resilience and reinvention, listeners. Joining me is Corwin CJ Moneyway Johnson, a podcast host, an author, entrepreneur, and inspiring storyteller. Listener, CJ is the voice behind the CJ Moneyway Show, a globally ranked podcast that champions overcoming adversity and unlocking your fullest potential. He's also the author of Both Eyes Open and Both Eyes Shut, with his newest book, Faith Through Trials, coming in 2025. And his newest podcast, Planting Seeds with CJ, dives deep into transformative journeys and the role of faith in personal evolution. So, with that, CJ, welcome to the show, and I'm extremely honored to have you here with us.
Well, thank you for having me on. What a introduction. I appreciate it.
Thank you, CJ. I mean, it's like a lot of accomplishments, and what a journey you have, CJ. So let's start with your origin story. So you have created a really inspiring platform, but where did it all begin? I mean, what was that pivotal moment when you realized that your adversity could actually become your impact?
Well, it was as you mentioned the book. I began writing the book, Both Eyes Open and Both Eyes Shut, in I want to say the year 2000. And so from the book, it took me 15 years to actually get it published. And I thank God for that, for giving me the fortitude and the organizational skills to keep something organized that long. And as experience goes on, you build on things and you become more wiser in certain situations. I just did a podcast on my planting seeds with CJ's, talking about planting taking the planks out of your eyes, the planks and the specks out of your eyes, and there's different layers to planks and specks. And so I say that to say that that's what I was doing over the years as I was writing a book. And so out of the book actually was had birthed the podcast because I guess I came into the realization of finding Christ and moving my life in a different direction that I wanted to help other people, especially young men that was coming up behind me for generations to come, not only my sons, but just men in general. So that's what the podcast, that's why I really wanted to come with the podcast. That's where it was actually birthed from. And that's why I wanted to do it.
Wow. Wow, that is so powerful, CJ. And I think a lot of our listeners will really connect with that feeling of why me, kind of getting shifted into why not me. And of course, I guess in almost all of our journeys there will be moments when we feel broken beyond repair, completely shaken up, um, to the ground, to the core, but eventually those cracks kind of let the light in.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And like you say, why not me? Because I know when I first started reading the Bible, Santa,
Uh-huh.
one of the scriptures that I would go to that I was reading was
Yeah.
the book of it was Isaiah. I want to say Isaiah 6, and it says that who shall I send and who shall go for me? And he says, "Send me, I'll go." Because we living in a world where people, they can hear, but they have ears but can't hear. They can see but can't see. And so that really inspired me, and that triggered something in me too, as well.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks for quoting that, CJ. Also, you talk a lot about authenticity and storytelling, and in this world where personal branding, we often see it kind of getting curated, or kind of the narrative been built around something, which kind of, actually doesn't look like authentic. How do you keep it real? And how do you suggest others, especially entrepreneurs or, business owners, founders out there to work on it?
What I would say is, like you say, just keeping it real, being authentic to yourself. I know people do a lot of things as far as social media. I know that you post things on social media as we do podcast clips and we do social media content and things of that nature. And a lot of times what you see on social media now is a lot of people doing things for clicks and likes and trying to monetize what they're doing. And I just take a different approach than that. It really don't matter who likes it or who, click on it or whatnot. I'm not gonna change who I am. Whether I'm getting 1,000 likes or 20,000 likes, I'm just gonna stay the same. And so that's what I would advise anybody to do. If you get into this podcast game or if you want to write books, just be you. Be your authentic self, whether it's selling fast or not. Just stay the course. And once you stay the course, everything that you've envisioned from the beginning will start coming to pass. Just stay the course, man, and just be yourself.
I love that line, just stay the course.
Hmm.
And also, I think storytelling is such a sacred art because it's self healing. And, through someone's story, maybe your story, maybe others can also go through their own or maybe start to embark on their healing process and it connects. But also, CJ, don't you think sometimes the pressure to share our story publicly can feel like, another form of performance? I mean, especially when people are still healing.
Well, to as we say in church, your testimony. And
Mhm.
so a lot of times we go through things in life, far as adversity, things that we don't want to be in. I was just talking to someone about this yesterday. We be in places that we don't want to be in, but I realized, Santa, that a lot of times we are in places and we have to go through things to for our testimony. And so when God brings us out of certain situations and certain adversities, it's to share, like you say, with someone else that may be going through the same thing. Or if they're not going through the same things, a lot of times say warning comes before destruction. You may be about to go through it. And so, we give out, you just give your testimony on what you did. Although every situation is different, it may be similar, but everyone is different. We all are different individuals. We all have different households. We was all raised up differently. So the way that you handle things may be differently. Although it seems like it's the same, but each person handles things in a different perspective. And so the only thing that you and I doing, Sandra, we just planting seeds with people, to be honest with you. Because we can't make people do what, we want them to do. All we can do is tell them from our experiences or certain things or bring people on our podcast shows that have dealt with adversity and have made it to be successful. But I can't what they say, you can lead a horse to water but you can't make them drink. But all I want to do is just continue doing what I'm doing, and hopefully it's changing some people and it's changing some people directions in life.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And it's definitely planting seeds, CJ. Beautiful. And so you you do multiple things out there. You have written books, you have launched shows, podcasts, you have spoken to thousands. But what do you do, CJ, when when sometimes kind of that doubt creeps in? Because I personally sometimes feel like that and kind of um, I pause there or I stop there working or thinking about something which can be maybe productive for the work I am doing or something good for myself. So, how do you navigate through those moments?
So that's a good question. And as you said, I was thinking about, because a lot of times, say like if you're working on your podcast, and as you say, you may not be getting the views that you want or the downloads that you're looking for, so it can become a little discouraging at times. But I listened to a guy. He spoke this before. He said that you have to have pockets, and so in these pockets, you have different ideas. And so if you get stuck on something, say if I'm doing a podcast and I'm getting stuck on something here or I'm getting frustrated, I got different pockets that I can reach into because I have other things. I have multiple things that I can grab on. If I lose focus on this now, I may be focusing on this part or on that. Or if I'm doing a podcast and I have all these different ideas, I'm trying to cram everything into one thing, and it's changing the course of what I'm doing, and it's taking me off course actually. And so I advise people, when you like creative as yourself, as myself and other creators out there, if you have multiple ideas, start thinking about them in pockets. And so when you get stuck on something, when you get frustrated with this and that, or when you get frustrated with this area and that area, you got different pockets that you can pull into that can bring you something else, different ideas, clarity to other things. And so that's how you can move forward when you start getting distracted. And I'm not going to even talk about the haters and family members, people that you want to support you and all that. You have to get over that in life. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You have to get over that. Believe in yourself and believe in what God is trying to take you.
Definitely, definitely it was. I think that that strength comes from that faith in God, in within us, within our higher selves.
Yep. I totally agree. You know, the Bible said that he would never leave you nor forsake you. And so when we get to them frustrating and frustrating times where we feel like that this thing is not gonna make it, or what am I continue doing this for? I'm not seeing the fruits of my labor. But a lot of times we just have to start planting. Once we start planting, then we just water it, or God water it, and just watch the increase come. But you gotta stay on course though. You got to be consistent doing whatever you doing. I have a model that I'm going in right now, brick by brick. You have to start building things brick by brick, and it takes a long time to build some things. You can picture Noah in the book of Genesis when he was building the ark. He had to build it brick by brick, plank by plank. And so sometimes that's what you have to do to get to where you're trying to go. And if God commissioned you to go this route, then that's the route that you got to go, no matter how hard or no matter how difficult it may seem to be.
Mm, that was beautiful, beautiful, CJ. And your newest book, Faith Through Trials, as well as your newest podcast, Planting Seeds with CJ, it both of them, they dive deep into transformative journeys and role of faith in personal evolution. So would you like to share a bit or give us a glimpse about what exactly you're trying to achieve or you're expecting readers and listeners to take away from your endeavors?
I What I'm trying to do with the book, Faith Through Trials, and the podcast, Planting Seeds with CJ, which it didn't come to me till later on after I started doing Planting Seeds with CJ, is that these two correlated with each other. And it's just about transformation. A lot of times we get stuck on ourselves. We get stuck in life situations. And so excuse me. So the book comes actually from the scripture about the sower that sowed. And so a lot of times people we sow things, and it's a different type of sowing. And it says that he went out and he planted seeds, but you had different results in each seed that was planted. Some grew and some became and had 30, 60, 100 fold. Some was planted and went to the wayside. Some was rooted up. And that's just how our life is at times. We can get excited about certain things, and then persecution comes about and it snatches everything that we was happy about. And so we get back into this stupor. But when you standing on God's word, when you standing on something that's solid, even when you going through difficult times in life, you can pull back on his word and know that God is not a man that he shall lie, and his promises are true. And so if I believe that, then I can keep moving forward in what I'm moving forward in. And so that's what this book, Faith Through Trials, and Planting Seeds with CJ, that's what it's basically based upon, man. Sometimes we just have to overlook what the situations that we in, and just trust that God is gonna pull us through like he has been all these other times, all these other years. And we just have to give thanks and glory to God that he woke us up today. And so each day is new grace and new mercy. And so we just have to believe that and just have to keep moving forward. And so, this book, I hope that it would, I feel like it'll resonate with a lot of people because it goes on a lot of different levels as far as seed planting and where our seeds going. And so this is what I'm hoping that people would take from the book.
Yeah, so noble, CJ. And I would also like to, you know, shed some light on purpose and platform. So, with everything you have created, CJ, how do you stay grounded? And what's your advice for someone just starting to build a personal brand from scratch, but they're kind of clueless on how to start and from where exactly to start?
Well, that'll be thanks for that question, Santa. I'm working on a new book that I'm tending to release in 2027. As I was sitting here and thinking about the brand that I'm building, it's going to be called Mic'd Up and Locked In, the makings of a podcast. And so, and like people like yourself and other podcast hosts, we know what this grind is. We know
Yeah.
from the beginnings and what we have to put into each episode. So I just want to go behind the scenes, and for those that's aspiring to get into podcasting, just give you some behind the scene things of what it takes to build a podcast and the consistency that you have to have to continue building a brand, even when other people can't see it, even when other people don't see your vision. As long as you see it, you just have to keep building on it. Don't matter where you are. I started matter of fact, I can't say that I started in the garage. I'm still in the garage. I'm in the garage. I started my podcast in the garage. This is where all the magic has happened. And, building a podcast, a platform was the CJ Moneyway show is ranked 2.5% globally, according to Listen Notes. I've been offered, actually, I'm in the podcasting network, at Believe Network. Shout out to them and my man Cam Rogers. So, you, you can just start wherever you are. I know a guy, he got a TV show. He started doing a podcast in his bedroom. Now he's on national TV. So you can start wherever you are, as long as you have a voice and a mic. And it don't matter what type of mic that you dealing with in the beginning, because as you grow in it and you have a passion for it, and don't look for money coming right off the bat. That's just first off. Don't look for no money coming off the bat. You have to have a passion for what you're doing for free. And when you're doing it for free and it becomes your passion and a joy, then you'll just see all the fruits of your labor come to pass as you continue being consistent with what you're doing. But you can start off doing it with a $20 mic and a phone and just get it started if this is what you really want to do.
Definitely. I mean, we are seeing success stories where the beginnings have been humble. I mean, it was not overnight success. And I absolutely resonate with what you said about, you know, l- let's just, believe in ourselves that we have our voice, we have that mic, or we have a phone or a laptop, and just open, because sometimes we try to make others believe that yes, we have a vision, but before that, I think it's that clarity within ourselves required, for to see and kind of dream and then visualize and then execute the roadmap to our vision. So that's really beautiful, Sijan. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. Let me add on that song, because when you have the dream and the vision, you have to have the fortitude to know that there's going to be some stumbling blocks in this road. And so you have to be willing to endure the hard times. You have to endure, as we both know, sometimes comments on your podcast. And so you just have to be built and ready for certain things. You can go out there and say what you want to say what's on your heart, inspire people if that's your thing, entertain people if that's your thing. Whatever you want to do, just have a desire to move forward with it and be ready for the collective criticism, because it's going to come. And so don't let that. Let it build you. Let it build you into making something better. So don't take the collective criticism or the negative comments, don't let that discourage you. Take that to make you better, because I found out that in a lot of times in these comments, like I didn't know what the flow was. To say, yeah, it's a good podcast, but I can't keep up with the flow. And it took me a while to understand what the flow was. But when I found out, it made my podcast better. It made, it made my voice better. And so you get better. Everything is repetition. And so the more that you do things, the better that you get with it, and the more that you become more comfortable within yourself. And so that's the advice that I give to you. If you got the desire to do it, go do it and just build upon what you're doing.
Mm, beautiful, beautiful. Great, great, CJ. So if our listeners would like to connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
Oh man, just Google me at CJ Moneyway. You'll find me on social media. You'll find me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn at CJ Moneyway.
Great. I'll have all the details in the show notes for our listeners. And CJ, thank you. Thank you so much. I think this conversation has been full of clarity, healing, and really, really insightful. So thank you for being so open and so grounded.
Thank you, son. I appreciate you having me on.
And to all of my beautiful listeners out there, if you are navigating adversity, feeling stuck, or unsure about your voice, remember this, that your story, your journey is not over. You are not behind. And every day is a new opportunity to plant seeds of purpose. So, to connect with CJ, just refer to the show notes along with this episode. And until next time, stay present, stay kind, and keep living mindfully. Thank you.